We have now arrived at the final company introducing their solutions here for this first forestry segment. It is time for us to get to know Mutrack, a company primarily in the healthcare industry working with digital transformation. They have, however, recently spun off into the agritech industry by bringing together cutting-edge technologies such as controlled environment agriculture, IoT, mobile, and cloud computing to build a true vertical farming solution. To introduce Mutrack, let us invite Mr. Pierrot Piachan, who is the Chief Executive Officer. The floor is yours. We do not hear you, Kun Pierrot. You are on mute.
Okay, I'm sorry. สวัสดีครับ Hello everyone. My name is Pierrot, CEO of Newtrap. Today I'm going to talk about our agricultural project. Okay, we pride ourselves on being the world's kitchen. Yet still, there are so much we can do better when it comes to agriculture. Out of all agricultural area, 70% are non-irrigation. The number is quite shocking. Not having enough water resulted in a lot of failed farms. The cost of damage was almost 300 million US dollar in 2020 alone, affecting more than 180,000 families. And rice, the most well-known and the most important produce of Thailand, for the last decade, we have lost 60% of production ability, had more than 350,000 acres of failed area. Our yield per acre has dropped by 11%, and in total, we have lost 20 billion US dollars in production value. That's a lot. And we all know that the water is not the only factor that makes traditional agriculture so difficult. Weather conditions, yield quality, pest control, labor dependence, among other things, put unimaginable pressure on the farmers. So our team looked at this situation and asked ourselves, what if we can help relieve the problem through technologies? What if we can build something that requires a lot less resources to do farming, and something that is controllable and driven by automation? And we think we are on the path to do just that. We are building a CEA, or Controlled Environment Agriculture solution that fits in a shipping container. We put together various technologies, for example, truly vertical farming through growing pipes, custom-made horticulture LED that is built specifically for plants, NFT hydroponics system that uses 90% less water than traditional farms, a complete control of climate, and more. We are trying to make indoor farming more accessible, enjoyable, and of course, profitable. Our solution growing can be a lot more systematic and predictable, from seedling to transplanting until harvesting. All can be done in our container farm behind the scene. It's just a nice coincidence that we are working very closely with our Swedish partner, Grow Pipes, who design and produce the growing pipes as you see in the picture. Here in Thailand, we build advanced vertical farming with IoT sensor and components, and with our proprietary farm management software. Ultimately, we are a software company. Our strength is to develop a great software platform. Not only can it control the farm, but it is more than that. It is a complete farm management solution. Everything is managed automatically via proven growing recipes. Location of plants can be tracked, making food traceability possible. Yield of each cycle can be recorded digitally for analytics purposes. And more importantly, production cycle can be planned and predicted with accuracy. And for the first time, that farmers are equipped with the right tool to thrive in this business. And obviously, we are not the first in this, not even in Thailand. So what makes us different? First, our container farm can grow variety of plants, herbs, and fruits, even some fruits, yes. And secondly, with our CEA and spatial growing recipes, we can actually grow plants that comes with phytonutrients. For example, low potassium microgreen and kale, basil with higher essential oils. or spinach with higher folic acid and more. We can serve wider groups of customers who demand higher grade of functional vegetables, such as patients with cancer and kidney diseases. Last, but probably the most important thing is our business model. Farm as a service is a growing sector, which will be valued at about 2.6 billion US dollar in 2024. So it is the concept that we provide farmers everything they need to succeed in the business: technology, software, expertise, labor, even marketplace. Our plan is not to sell our technology. We are not going to sell our containers, but we are going to go with a rental and subscription model that help farmers reduce an amount of capex they need to prepare. And we charge weekly fee by the numbers of pipes. It can be as low as 36 cents, and it's going to be lower every year. So with a long-term contract, we are going to create a stable business with predictable revenue. And actually, our target groups are farmers and local governments, and we have about 7,800 districts in Thailand, working with hospital, wellness centers, restaurants, food and catering service provider can be more than possible. So do international schools and modern trades. Our forecasted revenue is going to grow from about 1 million US dollar to 3 million in 2023, where we are going to think about expanding to other countries nearby. And in terms of usage growth, we plan to get about 17 containers deployed in 2023, which is equivalent to about 400,000 pipes in 2 years. And that will be when we will need to think about raising a Series B route to expand even further to the APAC region. Regarding the investment information, as we are going to close the current round of fundraising by next week, so we are looking forward to a Series A round where we are going to raise about 3 million US dollars at a share price of 10 US dollars per share. And most of the funding will be allocated to growth, which is to produce and provide containers for the farmers in a local market. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that presentation, Kun Piarot. Again, opening up to our set of expert commentators here. Any questions or comments?
Sure, I may have a few. You mentioned, Carl mentioned that in the introduction, you were actually a health tech company, and you transitioned into this agritech sector. Could you explain like that transition, that move, and why you did so?
Okay, thank you for the question. Actually, we are still a healthcare company, but the reason that we started to look at the other industry was because we are trying to leverage the platform that we have built for the hospitals. So actually, as we are a software company, right, so we have built some components that leverage some kind of tracking, some kind of IoT technologies. And then we look at the asset that we have, and we thought, what else can we do in order to expand what we have, in order to leverage what we have. And after quite a long studies for the market, we decided to move from, not to move, we are decided to expand or to start a new business sector, which is agriculture, because in terms of the software, we share a lot of components between the two industries when it comes to building solutions for customers.
Thank you. And how many, you talked about containers. So how many current customers do you have to the farm as a service model that you currently running? Yeah,
we don't have any customer. I mean, we don't have any real customer yet because we have just started. We have just started this business like a few months ago. So what we are doing right now is we are going to prototype the first containers, but we are pretty sure that we can do that because we have a list of very good partners, one of which is in Sweden, right? And we have a few more in Thailand to come up with the product and the solution. But along the way, we are also trying to approach target customers, which are like which are restaurants, farmers, people who want to do something with the agriculture, but they don't want to do it traditionally. They want to do it in a modern way, something like that. So to answer your question, no, we don't have a real paid customer yet, but we hope to get them soon.
Thank you ครับ
ครับ
ครับสวัสดีครับ I think it is a very good idea นะครับ now I have a couple of questions. The first question is who is your target customer, because Thailand being plenty of spaces of land, why do they need to do plant something inside a container? Are you going toward like vertical farming, urban farming, or are you going towards conventional farmer?
So actually, our first target group is a little bit more urban farming. The reason for that is we try to promote grow local, eat local trend, grow local, eat local culture, something like that, right? So if you think about a lot of salads restaurants in Thailand, most of which they are in Bangkok, but I'm not quite sure whether all of them can grow their salad plants and produce here in Bangkok. Actually, they have to ship from like very up north in Thailand, sometimes very south from Thailand here to Bangkok, right? So actually my plan is to grow local, eat local. You grow here, you eat here, and that is actually the first group of customers that I am approaching right now. And when we talk about phytonutrients, which is the functional vegetables that comes with very special nutrients inside, we can talk about a lot of hospitals that they will be very interested in providing a very good food for their patients. And that is actually the second group of customer that I'm going to approach. And actually, I have quite a few connections with the hospital already from my hospital business. So I can start talking to them quite right away, right? But in order to really impact the whole thing, I mean, the impact of mass market, we have to also think about farmers. But in order to think about the very traditional farmers, we cannot go just sell them that or try to provide them out of nowhere, right? So my plan is actually to talk with local governments trying to create a new career or a new jobs for their local market. And that is probably one of the alternatives out there that can help farmers step away from misery, from traditional agriculture to do something that is a little bit more modern. And actually they can get real money back from their effort. And that's the plan.
Okay, that's a very inspirable passion. However, for your first group of customer, they're not going to be professional farmer. Then, do you plan to help them with the end-to-end processes? For example, if you sell them the container to grow stuff, will you help them understanding how to get the raw materials needed for growing those vegetables? What do you have in
definitely
mind?
Yes, because we are going to provide them farm as a service solution, right? So we can help them doing almost everything. They can choose whether they want to grow it themselves. But actually, if they choose to grow it themselves, we have a very proven growing recipe. Actually, everything is controlled by the software. So they don't have to do anything risky unless they want to. Right. So, but some of them, if they don't want to really grow anything, so we can provide a service. We actually are partnering with a very specialist in this kind of hydroponics indoor farming company in Thailand. We can work together to provide everything for the customers. Yes.
So this means inside the container is not just going to be, shells and tube to water. There will be something moving too, right? Because some kind of robotics technology. What do you think?
I don't think robots I can do much with robots inside a very tight space. But when I talk about automation, everything in terms of growing plants will be automated, right? Like light, temperature, humidity, and anything like that. For water, nutrients, everything, it can be done very automatically. But we still need some growers to really do some kind of human work, like seedling, transplanting the plants from the nursery station to the pipes or something like that. We still need them to do it. But after that, everything will be very automatically controlled.
Okay, do you have any idea the cost per, let's say, per gram of using your technology in comparison to conventional methods? I mean, with human, not conventional like with dirt, but with hydroponic conventional way.
I don't really have the comparison between a cost per gram of produce between my techniques and other techniques, right? But what I have right now is that I'm quite sure that with the CEA, which is controlled environment agriculture, I can produce more yield per cycle than other technologies. I can shorten the time of growing very significantly, about 20% comparing to other hydroponics techniques. So when we talk about very controlled environment, if you grow outdoor or if you grow in a greenhouse, is an open greenhouse, probably you can grow 4 cycles a year. But with our technology, you can grow 6, something like that.
Okay, thank you. Last question for me. I know that you're still looking for seed money so that you can prototype your technology, but from the scale of 1 to 10, how confident you are, how much kind of research or technology that you already have,
Okay, 7.
Okay, that's very honest. Thank you. Yes, thank you.
May I also ask a question which is similar to the cost of the produce? I mean, I'm interested in the energy balance compared to more traditional farming. I mean, you have to produce the light and so on and so forth. How much more energy would you consume, including the whole life cycle? I mean, the transport and so on from the up north. What's the balance there?
Okay. In terms of the operating expenses, in order to run one container, mostly, this is the ugly truth about running the very controlled environment agriculture, right? So you can preserve a lot of water, but probably you have to spend a little bit more on utilities like electricity or something like that. But for the first version of our prototyping containers, we are going to have the solar cell on top. So actually we can reduce the need for using electricity quite a lot. That is one thing. So, but for me, I don't know exactly how much they are going to pay in order to ship the produce from up north to Bangkok. But one thing that we can quite sure that we can help salad, restaurant, and things like that, or even markets, fresh markets, is that about the shelf life of the plants. Because if you ship from somewhere, probably it takes 3 days until it reaches on your plate or something like that. But without our technology, you can harvest it right away, you can cook right away, and you eat right away. So actually, we can reduce food waste as well. Along the process, we are trying to introduce our solution to the market.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. I think we have time for one last question, if anyone has anything that they would want to ask. Yes.
Maybe not really a question, but maybe just to help out. I've considered investment in this type of kind of a container before. One of the interesting points to explore is supermarkets produce about maybe 70% a wastage of on-shelf produce, which just go to waste really. And they're really interested in having just this container in the back of their just like a to-go process. So maybe that's something that you can keep in mind as well.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, we have thought about that. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Kun Pieru, and thank you so much to everyone for taking the time. And that actually concludes this session. We have now listened to the three companies, both from the Swedish and from the Thai side. And I would like to thank all of you, all of the experts, of course, who of course comprise of Mr. Apirut of SEG, Mr. Sukit of the FIO, Mr. Peter from Stora Enso, Mr. Martin from Burapa, Mr. Fredrik from Mellanskog, and Mr. C2 from ARB for your most helpful and most good comments there and suggestions. I would also, of course, want to extend a thank you to all the 6 pitching companies, both from the Swedish and the Thai side. It's clear that the forestry industry, a key industry in the Swedish economy certainly, and a sector with much future promise in Thailand, is a key area of mutual interest between our two countries. And I really hope that all of you have found that this first section of today's event to be enlightening and fruitful. More so, I really hope that this session will lead to some actionable and tangible future collaborations between the players and actors that we've had here today. Business Sweden obviously always stands ready to support you should you wish to have any further discussions or understand any of these two markets better then. So that concludes this first session. We will now go on a break and we will return at 10 minutes past 11 Swedish time, which would be 10 minutes past 4 p.m. Thai time, with the next section of this forum, which is dedicated to smart cities and property technology. I will also at the time hand over the baton to my colleague, Dr. Pujanat Patanacharoen, Executive Director of the Thai-Swedish Chamber of Commerce, who will moderate that session. So once again, thank you so much everyone in the forestry sector here that attended what I believe to be a very good and enlightening event with very good discussions, and see all of you then back for a session on smart cities and property technology in 14 or so minutes, 10 minutes past 11 Swedish time, 10 minutes past 4 Thai time. Thank you so much so far, and see you soon again.